Hello, this is Daniel Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. And returning from a brief spring hiatus, I'd like to take up a topic that has been happening, and that is the extended preview of Bethesda's Starfield. And at the start, I'd like to say that I plan on adding Starfield coverage to Ray's Guide, partly to help fill in the time until Squadron is available, and partly because, as I will be discussing in this video, it is different than both Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe. So in the first half of this video, I'm going to discuss whether CIG is concerned about Starfield, and then about the areas in which Starfield's preview should and should not affect the situation for CIG. Now, you may be getting ready to comment about how I, as an outsider, could be making statements about CIG's concern. But hold off on that comment for just a second. You see, I was at the Los Angeles Star Citizen World Tour event, and a surprise attendee there was Chris Roberts, along with Sandy Roberts, who literally everybody was expecting would be at the British location, if at all. But apparently the Roberts family is leading a dual-continent life, and in fact their departure time was dictated by the need to get home and pack before their flight. I can only imagine the number of miles they are accumulating on British Airways. So as the event was winding down, I found myself at the same table with Chris. I was the guy in the Panama hat, and I did ask, "Are you concerned about Starfield?" Now, bear in mind that this was not a arranged or recorded interview, so I only had my mental notes to go by. And I also, frankly, expected that the answer would be no. I was more interested in hearing why Chris wasn't concerned. Chris noted that prior to all this, which I meant the Kickstarter, Bethesda had in fact talked to Chris about creating a space game, which goes to show how long the space genre has been on Bethesda's radar. Then he went on to say that he regarded Starfield to be an entirely different game because of the differences between single and multiplayer games and the social interaction of them. I then observed that I was actually thinking more about Squadron, and Chris answered that he also considered Squadron a very different game than Starfield because of the very specific linear storyline of Squadron 42. And honestly, I agree with Chris. There is a huge difference, in ways both large and small, between a highly immersive linear storyline that has been the hallmark of Chris Roberts' Wing Commander series, and the kind of gameplay in a Bethesda RPG, which allows a lot of side-wandering from the main storyline, in which, in the military world of Squadron 42, would get you court-martialed for going AWOL, would it not? Now, going AWOL and getting court-martialed might be an interesting side path in Squadron 42, but you would only be doing it for a very specific reason. So in fact, the general action and general sandboxy nature of Starfield is kind of in the middle of the spectrum between the complete sandbox of the Persistent Universe and the complete rails of Squadron 42. But more than that, a new gameplay preview like this inevitably adds to the conversation, and Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are part of that conversation, whether valid or not. And the Starfield preview does raise some matters, and the rest of this video is digging into some of them and whether they are valid or not. So first of all, creatures. We've seen concept art of creatures in Star Citizen, but so far nothing actually in the game other than the brief appearance of turtles. Creatures, particularly non-bipedal creatures, are difficult to do, mostly because of the inability to do mocap on them unless their morphology closely resembles an existing domesticated creature. The ones shown by Bethesda are good but not great, but so far ahead of anything yet shown in the game by CIG. So that does represent something where CIG might feel a bit challenged to show what they have in the works. Show us something besides the animals that were concepted so long ago. Honestly, the mining that was shown for Starfield clearly did not measure up to the current Persistent Universe hand mining. No skill, no collection. Also, there might be some calls to what SC has compared to the XP, and please resist any suggestion to add them. Experience points are the first step in a stats-based game, and they intrinsically take you out of the in-game immersion and into an out-of-game abstraction. You will see this pattern over and over again comparing Starfield to Star Citizen. In the same way we have the level numbers, identifiers, health bars, all stats-focused and arcadish, non-immersive elements. So they just don't fit with the Squadron 42 Star Citizen genre. So talk of why we don't have those in Star Citizen should be met with, because that's not Star Citizen. Even though, sure, they would be handy in a mission. However, we do also see a HUD radar display, which is something that we have been promised before and would be worthwhile to see what CIG has been working on in that regard. The reveal also showed their system for lockpicking, and I presume also for hacking. It avoids the cliches of the Mastermind game and the Connect the Pipes hacking minigames in many other games, but in all, not really all that particularly challenging. but it whets the appetite for what CIG has to have them open up more about what their own hacking and lockpicking systems that have been teased for so long. Also in the legitimate category is the system for below-the-neck customization. Again, something that has been promised for Star Citizen for some time. The system included in the Starfield demo was clear and simple, although I am no fan at all of the putty green color palette. The system only has 3 factors, which fights the inevitable trend towards making every character look like Duke Nukem or Lara Croft. Interestingly, it does not appear to have a height adjustment. Weird. But it raises the question of what the long-promised character customization ability in Star Citizen will beyond the faces. But honestly, when it comes to walk style, that just reminds me of this old Monty Python bit. Then there is the matter of the extensive list of character classes and skills which are tiered up through use. These are standard RPG tropes and add layer over layer on top of the you are you and you are there immersion that Chris Roberts has always focused his games on. So, if it leads to suggestion that CIG should have some sort of skills and advancement structure similar to that, the response should be quite deliberately nothing. The base building segment looked good and fairly comparable to what has been shown for Colonialism Outpost, except we haven't really seen many details yet about the player-facing ability to create bases. So the level of curiosity of what CIG will provide us when it does is increased. A great deal has been made about the ability to hire NPC crew, which has also been promised for Star Citizen, but we at present really don't have anything yet showing on Star Citizen for that. Then the shipbuilding system, which increases expectations for CIG, showing some progress on player-facing modularity. But for those who suggest that CIG should take the same route and do a full build-from-scratch modular ship system, I would suggest that it should be rejected, and that they should stick to their current manufacture and model with limited player-facing modularity. Why? Well, first look at the ships shown in the video. They're all sort of medium-large ships in the Constellation range of sizes. Nothing like a Razor or an Origin 100 or 300 or pure fighter like a Gladius or Arrow, or massive cargo ship like a Hercules or a frigate, or you get the idea. There's only so far you can push a single modular system either up or down. But there's even more than that. You see, this sort of fully modular system is notoriously difficult to balance. Eventually, a meta build will be discovered and promoted. But honestly, in a single-player game, do you care? Sure, 90% of the players will have the same meta ship, and just like 90% of the players will have the same meta gun and the same meta skills and modifiers. But do you care? You don't see those other 90% of players, and that they're all identical to you. But in a massively multiplayer game, it is completely lame if everybody is flying the same meta build ship in the same meta build skills list. So, much as it would be fun to play with CIG, should stay with the ship systems it has, particularly since it has been so effective in powering the revenue model of the game. Now, the RGB color system. Yes, we've been waiting an unreasonably long time for that, so showing something on that is overdue. Unfortunately, it's also not needed for Squadron 42. Having Navy pilots be able to paint their craft any color they want would be downright silly, so there's that. So how would I handle that problem? Well, create a set of skins specifically for RGB customization. And so to do custom colors, you have to first add the custom paint skin to the craft and then set the color. Then just not have the custom skin available in Squadron. Then there was the 100 elephants in the room, the promise by Bethesda to have 100 star systems in the game. That number can't simply have been random. It certainly was a direct take from the 100 star systems promised in the Star Citizen stretch goals, a promise that has been repeated over and over by critics of CIG. And interestingly enough, it was also seized upon skeptics of Bethesda's announcement. Would they be able to actually fill 100 star systems with interesting content, or would they be just cookie cutters? Because it seems that perhaps we have misunderstood the space game audience. Perhaps the space game fan, quantity is not as important as quality when it comes to star systems. It has taken us quite a while to get a real grip on Stanton, and we will likely take just as long to get a full experience of what Pyro has to offer. With that taking so long, to finally get to 100 star systems on decades would be on schedule, it would seem. So to summarize, Starfield isn't going to be either a Squadron 42 or Star Citizen killer because it is so very different a kind of game, and Chris Roberts feels the same. And some of the inevitable, why doesn't CIG do that, should be dismissed, specifically because it is so very different a kind of game. But others do apply, and the audience's curiosity has been awoken, and CIG will have to crack open a little on these features to either deliver them or preview them. The next Virtual CitizenCon would be an excellent opportunity for that. And yes, I do plan on covering Starfield more in the future. In fact, part of my reasons for this video was to lay out what I consider fair and unfair comparisons when creating that future Starfield-based content. Now for an update on our Grow the Channel ship giveaway, and what I'd like to announce is a parallel bonus giveaway for just videos published from June 15th through July 31st, 2022. As I said, I was at the Los Angeles Bar Citizen World Tour event, so I have an unused Banner Lockbox bonus card. But this one has something extra inside. It is autographed on the backside by both Chris and Sandy Roberts. I wasn't kidding when I said that I was there, they were there, and that I talked with them. So, no separate sign-up is needed, just like the ship giveaway for the choice of Anvil Liberator or the Misk Odyssey. Members are entered automatically, and if the winner is a member as of the date of the winning video, they will get both the Liberator and the Odyssey, but the card giveaway will remain a separate contest since it will have a different group of eligible videos and viewers. For non-members, just be a subscriber and comment somehow including the secret word. And the secret word for this video is the Starfield feature that I mocked with a Monty Python video clip. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Danny Raymond for Ray's Guide.